What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Cam, and I'm back with another video to close out the year, man. And what a year it has been. So, I just thought this would be a dope video to just reflect on, some things that I've learned this past year, and hopefully it'll inspire you guys to do some self-reflection around this time of the year, at the end of the year, and kind of set your goals and intentions for how you want to be better and how you're going to get better and feel better in 2020. So, let's get started. Lesson number one. One of the lessons that I definitely learned this year was boundaries. So, this year was the year that I've actually learned, how to set boundaries, what boundaries mean, how important boundaries are, especially for people like me. So I was talking to my therapist one day because I'm such a giver, and I blame my mom because my mom is also a giver, but I'm such a giver to the people that I love and to the people I can't even talk, man. I am such a giver to the people that I love and the people that I support, and I most of the time give so much more of myself than I should. And, by the end of the day or the week, I'm just like drained because I've given out all of this love and I haven't like restored myself and poured back into myself the love that I so freely give away to others. And I was talking to my therapist, and she told me, she was like, givers have to set boundaries because takers never will. And it was like a light bulb clicked, and I was like, yo, okay, therapist. I ain't gonna give y'all her name. But I was like, okay, therapist, I see you. And so, but that fit my life. And so I had to start setting boundaries with my friends, my family, my coworkers, so that I can protect the space that I'm in and make sure that I'm not overextending myself, and I'm making sure to carve out that time to pour back into myself. And man, you would have thought it was World War III with some relationships because like my therapist said, takers will never set those boundaries because they're so used to taking from you. And you have to protect your energy and your peace. And some people, I set the boundary, super cool with it. Some people, they kind of had to test it to see if it was something I was actually serious about, and then they started to respect it. And then some people, they just kept, not respecting my boundaries, and I had to let them go because that was just showing me how they loved and cared about me, that they would continue to disrespect something that I put into place to protect myself. So yeah, so boundaries was a big one, and so I'm definitely going to be taking that forward into 2020, and that was something that I definitely needed to learn as a giver. So lesson number two that I learned this year was fearlessness. Like, this year I was just so much more fearless than what I usually am. And like I said, like, this whole channel is me choosing love over fear. So starting this channel was, another way of me being fearless and not letting fear stop me. And that has been such a huge lesson of mine this year. It's just, fearlessness was such an important lesson for me because for the longest I've lived in fear. Like, I lived in fear of disappointing my parents, of not making the right decisions, not being, fear of just not being good enough or not doing what it is you think you should be doing at a certain age. I was just so wrapped up into fear that it was not letting me just live an authentic, peaceful life. And so 2019, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be fearless this year. I'm gonna stop living in fear. I'm gonna try to live as much of my life as I can in love, and just see how different, what type of feeling that brings versus me living, I know the feeling of living in fear, So let me see what the opposite of it is. And it has brought me so much joy. It has brought me so much closer to my family because I'm not scared to voice my opinions anymore. I'm not scared to be completely honest with them and let them know like what's on my mind. I'm not scared to, travel solo. Like, yo, I've been doing these solo traveling trips and they're the most fun that I've had on trips, and it is just amazing because I literally get to do whatever the heck I want to do, and I get to explore these new cities and towns and cultures. And for the longest time, I always thought I needed to depend on someone to travel with, and so I never traveled because plans always failed, didn't fall through. So yeah, so like this year I stopped. um I mean, I still care what people think about me to a certain extent, but that has decreased dramatically just from me just being more authentic with myself and realizing the people in my life that love me for me. Once you find people that love you for you, they create that space for you just to be your authentic self, for you to be fearless. And once you have that type of tribe, you're not gonna want to go back to living in a life of fear. So that was lesson number 2. Third and final lesson that I've learned this year is perfection does not exist. I mean, of course, everybody's like, duh, Cameron, I could have told you that. Why was that such a huge lesson for you this year? You've known it all your life. Okay, and anyway, the reason why this was such a huge lesson to me this year is because my entire life I have strived for perfection. And as you guys can imagine, if I'm striving for perfection, that means that I'm a people pleaser and I'm trying to please people around me by making sure everything is perfect. And so with that comes a sort of artificial love that if things aren't perfect, they're not gonna love you anymore. And so my whole life I was striving for perfection. Everything had to be perfect. And this year has really taught me that perfection doesn't exist. And it's really unhealthy for you to strive after that. Instead of striving for perfection, you should be striving for excellence. And I was able to do some research and really learn. So shout out to the Friend Zone podcast. They actually really broke down the difference between striving for excellence and striving for perfection. And I realized that if I strive for excellence, I'm being more authentic. I'm creating happiness and joy in whatever it is that I'm doing. And I feel fulfilled by it, at the end of the day. And that is what excellence is. It's striving to give your absolute best and then being cool with it. Being cool with whatever your best was for that day. Perfectionism is constraining because it doesn't give you the freedom of error. It doesn't give you the freedom to mess up. It doesn't give you the freedom to fall on your face. And that is sometimes where the most beautiful lessons bloom out of. And so perfectionism isn't freedom. It's another way of being fearful. And as I told you guys, fearlessness was definitely a lesson that I learned this year. So I had to let go of this idea that perfectionism or just being perfect is going to give me the dream life that I wanted, because it's absolutely not. So be you. Strive for excellence, not perfectionism. Alright guys, so that wraps up the 3 lessons that I've learned in 2019 that I'll be taking with me into 2020. If you've watched this video this far, you know what you should do. You should go ahead, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's some more to come, so much more to come. Hit the like button, and I want you to leave a comment. I want you to let me know your 3 things or 3 lessons that you have learned this year. And it could be life lessons, it could be something small, it doesn't matter what it is. Drop a comment below. Let me know what are 3 lessons that you've learned this year so we can start the dialogue. Let's get the conversation going of all these lessons that we learned. And let's create this ecosystem of just, positive energy of what we're going to take with us into 2020. You feel me? All right. Love you guys. Peace and blessings. I'll see you guys in the next one.